Hey listeners, welcome to the Season 1 finale of Straight Wife, Trans Life. I'm Lisa, and I will return in December for Season 2. Before I dive in today, I want to thank you for listening, for reaching out. I've had a chance to get to know several of you. It's been really fun. For subscribing and for supporting the podcast. I truly appreciate you taking time to listen or to write. And you've even reached out as far away as Australia. So, Australia, I hope that your move went well. A spouse coming out as transgender is global. So, I promise you that if you have a spouse who just came out to you, you will find support or someone else going through this no matter where you live. This podcast has been really therapeutic for me, but it is a podcast for you, for us, a spot to share resources, a moment to learn, and a place to know that other spouses are going through similar scenarios. And it's also a place where anyone can learn about, what a family with a transgender person looks like. All right, enough chit chat. Thank you again. And now for the finale. Back in the late 1990s, I loved what was called the sunscreen song, a spoken word hypothetical graduation speech narrated by an Australian voice actor named Lee Perry. It had a beat in the background and a little sort of hook. And behind the production, Australian director Baz Luhrmann. The sunscreen song covered the airwaves. Lots of radio stations played it. And what some people might not know is that it originates from a column in the Chicago Tribune. I will include the link to the column, an interview with Lee Perry, and the song. So I can almost recite the song by heart, but these 3 lines always stood out. Whatever you do, don't congratulate yourself too much or berate yourself either. Your choices are half chance. So are everybody else's. And that's why I can't be angry with my spouse about coming out as transgender. When you get married, you're taking a chance, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes you get a big surprise that you didn't see coming, or maybe you did and ignored the signs. Honestly, it doesn't matter. So today, I'm ending Season 1 with my current list of lessons learned since my spouse came out almost 2 years ago. I'm sure that there are more lessons to be learned. The first 2 are be kind to yourself and take your time. It is an out-of-body experience when your spouse comes out as transgender. It's not your fault. Don't head for the hills just yet. Take a deep breath and make sound decisions. Don't let things get ugly. Find empathy. You may feel betrayed at first. My spouse says she felt this way since she was a kid, but didn't know what it was and stuffed it down. Pretty crappy for me, but it's actually really crappy for my spouse that she never felt like she could figure out what her feelings were. Different cultures don't make it easy to be different. Your spouse loves you, but as most things, whatever you're stuffing down will come to the surface, and hopefully through the thick of the emotions, you can be an ally for your spouse, even if you part ways. Allow yourself to grieve. You are going through a lot of emotional stages. Feelings of betrayal, anger, sadness, deep loss. Allow yourself to go through them. Feel shitty, curl up in a ball, but make sure you don't stay there. Remind yourself that better days are ahead, and they are, and you're going to need reminders. Find a great therapist and a support group. I had never been to therapy before my spouse came out, and it was a huge help. I had one-on-one therapy for a year, and my spouse and I had a joint therapist, and it really helped get through a difficult first year after disclosure. You need support. So in addition, find that support group and test out support groups. They will not all be a great fit. Don't allow someone else's bad experience to affect you. Some folks ended relationships years ago and insist on sticking around in support groups just to tell you how much their transgender person ruined their life. Avoid that. Nobody else is responsible for your life except you. and you want to leave a meeting feeling more uplifted versus dragged down. So you will find your people, and it will be helpful. Also, we have loved ones who we will tell who aren't going through this and who will insist they know best. They don't. You know you. Your mom telling you that your spouse needs to dress a certain way, or your aunt telling you that she would never stay if it was her. Just make a note not to tell them as much any longer. You are in charge. Your gut knows what you need to do, and your gut is probably saying avoid some of these people or the topic. Which brings me to setting boundaries. If a family member or acquaintance is making transphobic jokes or being rude about your situation, call them out. You don't need to show up to a family event if that's the behavior you will be dealing with. Call them out. Listen, Aunt Betty, I understand that this is an adjustment for all of us, but this is my spouse, and we're figuring it out. I can't join the next family function if you're going to make transphobic jokes. It makes me uncomfortable, and we don't feel welcome. Also, set boundaries with your spouse. My spouse told me that she's always been a woman inside, and I said, you know what? Please don't say that out loud around me again, because the person I married never said that, and it makes me feel like I was misled. I understand that you thought you could stuff this down and that you're now figuring it out, but it hurts me when you say that. Be honest. Going through this is going to make you a little bit stronger and a little more able to stand up for yourself. Which brings me to be true to yourself. Maybe your spouse wasn't even that great, even before she came out. It's okay to leave. Maybe your spouse is your favorite person to see every day. Then stay. You are in charge of your decisions. Listen to that inner voice and gut instinct. You know what to do. Find your new happy. I stay because my spouse is my favorite person. She gets me. I also know that I can't just sit around and watch her change and pretend that nothing has changed. I'm changing too. I'm pursuing a new career. I'm spending more time nurturing friendships and relationships that I let slide. I've said goodbye to relationships that aren't healthy. I'm finding my new happy and still enjoying my spouse. When your spouse comes out as transgender, it is only the end of one chapter in your life. You get to write and live the next chapter and the next. Appreciate what you had. Enjoy the possibilities ahead. Until next season, take care.